We're the man who chased geese.
That's who we are.
That's us. Nobody else chases geese.
No, nobody else does. In today's episode, we are going to do Rookies, which is the 4th episode of Season 1. And you can tell one thing already. Kyle's moved forward.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's just pretty neat, huh?
Is that the 5th episode?
It's the 5th?
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 4. How's that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's 5. I apologize. It's the 5th episode.
5.
No, shut up. All right. Where there's no Jedi involved at all. And that's the first one.
Or not, a Star Wars episode with no Jedi.
Basically, they're waiting for a phone call for the whole show. Hey, did the signal? Anyways, I'll get into that.
Can we land on the base now?
So I call these the first of what I call the For Our Brothers series. The clones, when you see them in the series, they over and over and over again say For Our Brothers, For Our Brothers, For Our Brothers. And they say it here too, I believe for the first time really on their own. And you see their motivations, which is they fight really for themselves, but also for their brothers, which means that's who we are. And we're not necessarily fighting for a concept as for the fact that our brothers are out there in the field all over the galaxy fighting. And if we don't do our job, then we're letting our brothers down and we're getting them killed because we're not doing our job. But so their loyalty is, again, it's not a nebulous concept or patriotism. In a way, it's almost loyalty to this ethos, this group of their only family that they know, their clones. And that's really their motivation. And later on, when you see that, Camino, which is basically their birth planet, their capital for the clones in a lot of ways, is threatened, the clones get, they get very upset about that, and units are moved there to help defend it. Listen to later episodes. So anyway, so in this episode, what happens is this: you have the clones, and you see them. There's just a squad, and how they deal with things, and how they react, and how they exist. And it's interesting. You see that they have the World War II motif. You have the pinup girls. You have, of course, and I'll bring this up right now, which is that they have the sex bot. You'll see her. She's on the radio station. She's a sex bot. And later on, you'll see her again later on as well. And she's a sex bot. You'll know it when you see it. And, so they're bored at the base. And, and they don't know what to, they're kind of bored. Like, we're just out here. We want to fight, but we can't. There's nothing to do. But then, of course, there is something to do. The base eventually gets attacked, and they have to deal with it. So, again, as far as character development or anything, there isn't really any in this. So I don't have really a lot to say, because there's not really a lot that happens in it. It's really just the first chance that the viewer gets to see what and who the clones are and what they're like. Just without the Jedi, without anybody, just how they are. And that's interesting to look at. Right, you want to say something?
So, For Our Brothers starts out, and they are all shinies. And this is the first evolution of something that's called the shiny. And the shiny is someone who has their armor. It's without any damage, and it basically reflects off them because they're so out of battle. They haven't experienced anything, and they've just been stationed on the moon right from base camp.
They're new.
So they are completely new. They're completely green. They have nothing of experience worthwhile. And the only one who's actually knowledgeable is their commander. And he's the one that gets shot first by the commando droids. Now, the commando droids are really wise. They're intentionally programmed, unlike the battle droids. They're programmed to be smart. They're programmed to kill. They're programmed with espionage and being able to mimic people's voices. But they're also programmed to stick to objective, while clones can think on their feet, and they can do other multiple objectives. So, intentionally, the clones are let loose, and rather than go chase after them, the commando droids say, no, we're going to take the base. We're going to wait for Grievous's order. That's all we're going to do. And the clones are the ones that actually instigate and come back and try to take the base from themselves rather than escape. What I found hysterical was the part where they're underneath the ground and the guy says, oh, look out for the earthworms. And he gets immediately eaten by a giant moonworm. That's just bad timing. The one more thing, Rex and Cody are the new commanding officers. So they're put in charge while the other ones were floundering around because the shinies didn't know what to do by themselves. They had to have someone take orders or give orders to them in order for them to be useful. And in the end, Heavy is the one that sacrifices himself to blow up the base.
Back to me.
Back to you.
Okay. So just a couple of things again, because this episode doesn't have a ton in it, other than just to watch how the clones operate. Um, One interesting thing about it is that you're going to see what you'll see through the whole series, which is that the clones are brave, they're tough, they're smart, they have feelings, they're individuals. They have every kind of human capacity you can imagine, but they're also they're brave, but they're not stupid, and they care. They have a soul, and you get that when they say for our brothers. That tells you that they're connected to a bigger thing, bigger than themselves. So it really speaks to how their characters are. And when you see the base is overrun, and the only way they can defeat the robots is basically to blow up the base. And Heavy, who's one of the characters in it, he sacrifices himself to blow up the base. And the idea, by the way, to blow up the base was, again, out of the box thinking. That initially, when they're saying, well, what can we do to deal with it? Well, we'll blow the base up. And one of the clones says, no, we can't. We're supposed to defend the base. But said, no. Our real objective is to protect, from invasion. And that will happen if we blow the base up, because the signal that they were sending out will stop. The public will know that the base is under attack, and will come try to help them, which they do. So there's that. Just to let you know, Heavy and one of the other clones, I can't remember his name, they are actually, this is how they end, or this is where they are now, and you see Heavy die. If you go to season 3, and on Clone Cadets and Arc Troopers, which is the first 2 episodes of season 3, this is where that group that you see there, start there, is created. Echo, that's the other one, Echo. As cadets in that one, so that's like kind of a prequel. And the season 3 one, there's two episodes.
And they're even more dysfunctional.
Yeah, they're very dysfunctional, and you see how they're trained and everything, and then you see how they ended up and where they ended and where they go. And in the end, by the way, you see how they're put into what's called the 501st, which is like the elite unit, which is again becomes Anakin's unit, becomes Vader's unit later on, and that's the unit that always has the clones in it. And as the clones die throughout the years, because they age fast and they die, the clones are always kept pushed into, the remaining clones are always keep pushing in to the 501. So the 501s always clones, or at least under Anakin, under Vader. And that's why it was so effective, because you had just fantastic troops who were just good and solid. And they were better than the later crappy ones. So this is how it is. Anyway, I like the episode. I give it really a 3. It was a good episode. It wasn't great. Average, maybe. I guess 3 is an average. But for me, I like to have character development and other things I can deal with and talk about, and there wasn't a ton to go with here, other than again to look at the clones, see how they see themselves, which was again is useful. Later on, they do far more introspective stuff with the clones, and there's a lot more to dig through. But so I give it a 3. But I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked the whole series. There's only a couple episodes in this episode I didn't like. All right, I'm good. What's your grade?
I'd give it a 3.5.
You can't give it a 3.5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm stuck in between 3 and 4 because I'd give it a 3 initially from the episode itself. They dwell specifically on the character development throughout season 3 later on.
Yeah.
So if it was by the episode, it'd be a 3.
Okay.
Character development 4 because they get their own little tirade later on.
Yeah.
Rex and Cody are introduced. They're the ones that shoot first, ask questions later. They respect command, but they also respect each and every single clone trooper they're with.
Vix.
I give it 3 clone troopers out of the surviving 5. That only 2 of them make it.
You always have to make it about like a thing. Like it has to be 3 strawberries or 3 lightsabers. It can't just be a number. It has to be like something interesting. It has to mean something with you. All right, fine. All right, so that's it. Next week we're gonna do. Let's see here. We're gonna do Assassins. No, Assassins. On the wrong page. That's on the wrong page. I'm on the wrong page, people. By the way, this show is called Rookies. I don't know if we said that at the beginning.
Just like this.
Yeah, so there we go. The next one's going to be called Downfall of the Droid. I remember that one. Anyway, okay, so all right, so that's it. So
stay tuned.
Men who chase geese.
Who chase geese?
That's us. Take care.